Everybody stand and we'll ask Mr. Hines, you will lead us in the pledge today.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. Up first is the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move that we approve the agenda as submitted.
I second.
Motion's been made with a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Next is recognition. Mr. Dean.
Mr. Chairman, February is School Board Appreciation Month, and on behalf of the students, the staff, and the entire Lee County Public School family, I say thank you for your dedication, your sacrifices, and your leadership that's vital to the success of the school system. Your commitment and service is essential to the continued progress of Lee County Public Schools, and we greatly appreciate you. Several of the schools have sent y'all some tokens of appreciation that's in the small boardroom. You all have a very difficult job, and we do appreciate everything that you all are doing. And since the last School Board Appreciation, I know you all didn't plan on a pandemic. You didn't plan on the things that you had to do with remote learning and in person, and we greatly appreciate your all's commitment and what you're doing for the school system. And I personally say thank you, and I know everyone else does. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is public comment. Do we have any public comment tonight? If not, move right along to board comments. Do we have any board comments? If not, we'll go to consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
Motion's been made. I'll second it. Any discussion on the consent items? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Next is reports of the board. Do we have any reports of the board? I do want to congratulate the Thomas Walker Lady Pioneers on the season. They're actually playing tonight. I forgot to do this in comments. Should have done that then, but they play probably right now. They've made it past district, tied with Eastside for district title. They're in the Elite Eight, I think. Yes, Elite Eight in the region, and a shot at going farther. And just want to congratulate them on making it that far and wish them well and good luck. Any other reports of the board?
I would like to recognize Grayson Huff. He won the Region 2D championship on the 160-pound class of wrestling at from Lee High School, and he's the son of Brian and Amber Huff that are educators in our system. So congratulations to Grayson Huff. He's going to move on to state.
And Brian, that's the principal.
His son, yes.
I also want to send thoughts and prayers with the family of Richard Garrett. I forgot to mention that as well. He passed away. Don't know the exact date, but my thoughts and prayers goes to him and his family, and he will be missed, I'm sure. Anybody else? If not, we'll move to reports of the division superintendent, Mr. Dean.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, on enrollment, last month we were at 2931. We're down to 2917. We lost 14, but I checked, and I mentioned this in the previous meeting, I checked today, we were back up to 2924. So hopefully we'll get those kids back, but we did lose a number from last month. On the operations and transportation update, you have that in your packet. Maintenance has been doing a whole lot with the weather And I also asked transportation to include theirs this month. Transportation did not include the number of buses that they jumped off, which was a lot because we had a lot that had set for a long time. So they had to jump off a bunch of buses, and they have helped run the roads on those mornings we've had questionable weather. They've helped, because the county has a number of miles of road, and there's several of us that have to dive in there and get that done, so that should also be included when you look at that. On the COVID-19 update, I just wanted to say that in the 2 weeks prior to the January board meeting, I told you all we had 370 cases, and that's why I had asked that we extend the remote learning. In the 2 weeks prior to this meeting, we're down to 98. So
Yay.
I appreciate the community and all the safety measures that everybody's doing. I will also say that the Region 7 superintendents had a conference call with Dr. Shelton, who's the acting health director. She did tell us that on quarantines, they were highly recommending that we do 14 days. But that they would approve a 10-day quarantine with no symptoms. But the change is that they would not approve someone testing out. Like if you was exposed and you waited 7 days and then got a test, she said they would no longer approve that and support that. And she did also say that if we went with the 10-day, especially with sports starting, that we would have to notify any visiting team or any team that we're going to that we're not following the 14 days, we're doing the 10 days, just so they know the risk that apparently is traveling with us. And then since we've been reporting online with the number of positives, we've had 9 staff and 4 students. So I don't think that's bad. I know we have more staff members, but we've had more staff members in the building than we had students for a long time. So that's where that came from. And then on D, I just want to tell you all that everybody I have talked to is glad to be back in school. The weather has not cooperated. Since we started back, we've had 8 possible in-person days, and we've had 4 of those that we've actually been able to go to school because of the weather. But the teachers, the principals, even the custodians, the cooks, I think everybody's glad to see kids back. And like today, you know, we had to make a call, and fortunately, we made the right call, but the weather did not hit us, and we were able to get a day in. So I'm just glad to be back in person and doing what we can to help the students.
One quick question on remote and in person. I've had a lot of people tell me they're happy to have that option to go back as well. Can you explain to me a little bit about some glitches we've had in the system and assignments not getting uploaded on certain Chromebooks? And
We've had some issues, and I think that's with all technology. You push out assignments, and there has been cases where those may not have went to the Chromebooks. I hope that the schools, and I will check that the schools and the teachers are giving people every opportunity, and from every person I have talked to, they have given them multiple opportunities.
I think it depends on the teacher. Some teachers give opportunities, some don't. I'm not a teacher, don't want to be, but at this point, I about think we have to let kids have every opportunity.
You've got to be consistent.
Yes.
Every school.
We got to be able to say we're going to be consistent. You can make this up until this date, or I know for a fact some kids didn't get an assignment of a certain class and they got 4 points taken off after they done it because it was late 3 weeks. They didn't get it for 3 weeks.
But it's not just that issue. There's some teachers that are putting out videos and stuff for the children to watch and to be able to learn and do their lessons, and there's some it's not. We just need to be consistent across the whole school system for the rest of the school year so we do the best we can in providing a quality education.
I agree. Every kid's not lazy. Every kid's trying. I mean, not every kid's going to try the same, and that's teacher's discretion. It's not boards, but I think we need something consistently to say this is what we're going to do. We're going to do it across the county or something. I don't know the answer.
I can get with the principals and ask them to make sure that we are being consistent and giving the opportunities. I know we do have cases with some of the learning management systems that we can actually go in and see if the child has actually opened it. And like you said, not every child is lazy, not every child is not trying, but it's difficult for all of us, it's difficult for them, and we need to try to do everything we can to help.
Students along with teachers didn't ask to be in this situation, I totally get it, but we gotta bend and do whatever we can do to let them make it up, in my opinion. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say.
And administratively, I can get with the principals and we can try and get the consistency that you all are asking for, and see what we can do to do it better.
And we got a letter through school email from a parent, and that's pretty much what they were talking about. And I think some of the surrounding counties might be doing a better job of more uniformity and more visual time.
And I did, one of you all did share some emails with me. I reached out to those parents. The lady, I spoke with her today, and she said currently she does not have a complaint because she said we have fixed the issues that she's had concerns with.
That's great.
Another gentleman had more concerns a different way.
Yeah.
Since we've been back in person, he said he's good. And the third, I have not been able to get in touch with. I have tried multiple times, but he's not coming back yet.
This whole thing, on both students and staff, it's taking a toll on them.
That's horrible.
Especially on the children, because nobody knows, and we don't even know what we're going to do from one week to the next. The numbers go up, we have to go back to all remote. I don't think anybody likes it, and I certainly don't, but there is a real toll that's happening and taking effect, so.
Well, I could see that yesterday because, I think all of the forecasts had us getting hit with this weather. And the schools were having to decide, do we send out stuff today? Because we may not be here tomorrow. So it's a challenge, and we need to work together to help the kids.
Couple more questions. Do we do 2-hour delays on this shortened schedule?
We have not, because we're only going to school 5.5 hours, and
Right.
5.5 hours on a 180-day schedule gets you to 990. We just decided early on we weren't going to do 2-hour delays because it was just so short.
I don't think that's perfectly fine. I just asked, and I wanted to make it public. This is why,
Right.
and that kind of thing. One more thing, then I'll shut up. I've read several things that our governor is wanting students back in person. Anything from the governor's office coming down to the Department of Education saying that, or what's going on there?
He made a
You read
public-
things online on social media, you don't know what you can believe and what you can't.
He made a public announcement the other day that he wanted in-person offered by March the 15th. Those of us in Region 7, it's really not affecting us because we were already trying to do it in person anyway.
Right.
Apparently some counties and some divisions across the state have not been in person since March the 13th of last year.
Really.
So that I think is the intent of what he has said, that some
The
people
General
have.
Assembly is pushing that out as well, from what I understand.
I think the Senate has passed a bill that said they want to force school divisions to offer in-person and remote. So
Any conversation about offering remote for next year? Have you seen it or heard any?
yeah, if the Senate bill passes and signed by the governor, we'll have to offer remote starting July 1st as an option.
Right, but it's still out to be decided.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, any unfinished business tonight? If not, we'll move to action and discussion items. The first is A, amend the salary scales and athletic stipends, first review. This is up for discussion or action item, either one. We'll let Mr. Dean.
I just put first review on there. What the minimum wage changes May the 1st. And we have a number of our classifications that will not meet it. So we went through with the draft, and I'm just asking you to look at it this month. It mainly affects substitutes because we had them at $8 an hour. They'll have to be bumped up to $9.50.
Janitor.
All of those janitors, teacher aides, when we go up to the new minimum wage, the base salary would not have met it. So we bumped that base salary up, starting to set zero to meet the minimum wage. And then we factored in a small raise all the way through to keep the consistency that we had in the past scale.
When does that minimum wage change?
May the 1st.
May the 1st of this year?
Correct. It goes up to $9.50.
$9.50. May 1st. Is there any discussion from the state helping fund this?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
And we'll be back in this situation January the 1st, 2022, when it goes from $9.50 to $11.
In 2022.
Yes.
And this is Virginia only, correct? As of right now?
Correct.
Virginia.
Yes. It also affects the cafeteria, like Mr. Kidwell said, the custodians. It didn't affect bus drivers, but we did a little tweak on their salary scale because we were paying a substitute bus driver the same as a full-time bus driver, and in our opinion, we should give our full-time people just a little bit more. So that is in there. It's just a small amount, but I think they would appreciate it. And it affected the maintenance and transportation crew. Of course, they're 260 days, 8-hour days, so we've had to bump them up. So I just wanted y'all to look at it, and you don't have to vote on it tonight. So I just want y'all to review it. We just have to have it in place by May the 1st to make sure we meet the requirement. On the athletic stipends, I think in your all's packet, you had a letter from Ms. Sumter, the principal at Lehigh, and I can give you a little context on what has happened. In the past 3 years at Lehigh, they have actually had a sideline cheerleading squad and a competition cheerleading squad. And those are different. I mean, if you've been to football games, those students do one thing, but the competitions are completely different. And as of the current governor's executive order, they can't have sideline cheerleading this year, or band.
Is it correct too that cheerleaders can't come to a football game this year?
Correct.
At school?
The only way they would be able to come is if each participant gets 2 tickets. If one of those participants gave a cheerleader a ticket, they might be able to come, but they have specifically said no, we are not approving sideline cheerleading this year. So for the past couple of years, Lehigh has actually had 2 squads. It has been a lot of the same girls, but at the recommendation of Ms. Sumter, at the recommendation of Mr. Coomer, the athletic director, we're asking that they be 2 stipends, one for sideline cheer and one for competition cheer. You only get whichever one you do, or unless you do both. And this year, they may only get to do competition cheer, which is a Virginia High School League approved sport. Sideline cheer is not. And that's how they're saying that they can deny the cheerleaders on the football field.
But we've hired coaches and we won't pay them.
I think we're going to have to do like we did last year. If we didn't have a sport, they won't get their full pay.
Right.
I mean,
And I don't agree with it. I think they should be able to come, in my opinion, but it makes a mess for everybody.
we're hoping that the governor relaxes some of the restrictions at the end of this month. It's very well possible that he extends the executive order longer.
Right.
So, but wanted y'all to look at that. We do have a middle school competition cheer squad. So I did add that to this, and I put Ms. Sumter's letter in there, and I would like y'all to consider that. You don't have to do it at this time. That's why I wanted the first review. So you have time to think about it. But if you have any questions, I'll be more than glad to answer them.
I do appreciate you putting these scales like this. I feel like that will erase some confusion before where people would call about their pay and that kind of thing. So this is pretty clear cut. Well,
And if you look at last year's, I don't know, we can print you a copy of it. You can compare where the raises are, or we can tell you, but it's not a lot. We just get people to the minimum wage, and then we went through the scale to give everyone a little bit to keep the consistency throughout the scale. Any questions?
Real fast, we're going to offer competition cheer at Lehigh. We're going to offer it at Thomas Walker as well.
If they want to participate?
I don't know that there will be. I'm just saying it might need to be added in. If I ain't looked at the scale yet. But.
Right, we just put it as a sport, so if Thomas Walker does it, they would be entitled to it as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more discussion on the pay scale, first review? If not, we'll ask for a motion to go in closed session.
Motion.
Second.
We have to read the code sections for, we have them up here.
It's 2.23711A1 is the code section. First name.
what is it?
2.23711A1.
And that's all we have is personnel, so.
Right.
I'll make a motion, we go into closed session pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3711 subsection A1.
Motion made, we have a second. Thank you.
Second. Oh.
All in favor say aye.